Ambassador Krethak had lived for 3 centuries, witnessed the rise and fall of empires, and survived 2 galactic wars. Yet nothing in his long existence had prepared him for the moment when humanity's perpetual optimism finally died. It happened on a Tuesday, Galactic Standard Time. The emergency session of the Intergalactic Council convened in the wake of the Zephyrian genocide, the systematic extermination of an entire pacifist species by the militant Vortak Empire. As delegates filed into the crystalline chamber, Krethak noticed something that made his bioluminescent patches dim with unease. The human delegation had arrived, but they weren't smiling. For 47 years since first contact, humans had been the galaxy's unofficial morale officers. No matter how dire the crisis, how hopeless the situation, or how devastating the loss, they maintained an infuriating, inexplicable optimism that both annoyed and comforted other species in equal measure. When the Andromedan plague had swept through 3 sectors, killing billions, the humans had smiled and said, "We'll find a cure." They had. When the Void Hunters emerged from dark space to terrorize trade routes, humans had grinned and declared, "Every problem has a solution." They'd found one. Even during the Great Famine of Kepler 442, when entire worlds faced starvation, human ambassador Sarah Chin had stood before the council with that characteristic human expression of hope and announced, "We've never met a challenge we couldn't overcome together." But not today. Ambassador Chin entered the chamber with her usual measured stride, but her face carried an expression that Krethak had never seen on any human before: cold, calculating fury masked by diplomatic professionalism. Her smile, that universal human feature that had become a symbol of hope across the galaxy, was nowhere to be found. "The Galactic Council recognizes the Human Federation," announced Chancellor Vexera, her crystalline voice trembling slightly. Chin rose slowly, her movements precise and controlled. When she spoke, her voice carried none of the warmth that had made humanity beloved across 47 species. "The Human Federation calls for immediate military intervention against the Vortak Empire," she stated flatly. "We demand the complete dismantling of their government, the trial of all military leadership for crimes against sentient life, and the occupation of Vortak space until such time as their society can be rebuilt from the ground up." A shocked silence fell over the chamber. Humans had never called for military action. They were the peacemakers, the diplomats, the eternal optimists, who believed every conflict could be resolved through understanding. General Torvash of the Crimson Fleet, a veteran warrior whose species thrived on conflict, leaned forward with interest. "The humans want war?" "No," Chin replied, her tone devoid of emotion. "We want justice. The Zephyrians were a peaceful species. They had no military, no weapons, no means of defense. They trusted the galaxy to protect them, just as we taught them to trust." Her hands, steady as surgical instruments, gripped the podium. "They died believing help would come. They died waiting for us to save them." Krethak watched in growing alarm as other human delegates throughout the chamber adopted the same cold expression. Humanity's smile, their gift to the galaxy, was vanishing before his eyes. "For 47 years, Chen continued, "we have believed that reason could triumph over brutality, that diplomacy could overcome tyranny, that hope could defeat hate. Today, we learn that sometimes evil simply needs to be stopped, not negotiated with." The chamber erupted in nervous chatter. The hegemony had seen humanity's optimism as weakness. The Trade Federation had exploited their generosity. Even allies had taken their goodwill for granted. "The motion for military intervention is seconded by the Human Federation's entire bloc," announced Admiral Rodriguez from the military section, his scarred face set in stone. "We are prepared to lead this campaign personally." Chancellor Vexera's crystalline form flickered with anxiety. "Ambassador Chun, surely we can find a diplomatic solution." "Diplomacy?" Chin interrupted. requires at least two parties willing to negotiate in good faith. The Vordak Empire has demonstrated that they prefer extinction to peace. We will accommodate their preference. As the session devolved into chaos, species representatives across the chamber realized they were witnessing a fundamental shift in galactic politics. Humanity, patient, hopeful, eternally optimistic humanity, had finally encountered a line they would not allow to be crossed. Over the following days, as human fleets mobilized with efficiency that stunned military analysts, every species in the galaxy began to understand what they had lost. The humans still helped, still protected, still served as the galaxy's guardians. But they did so with the grim determination of beings who had learned that some innocence, once lost, could never be recovered. The Vordak Empire fell in 6 months. Their leadership faced trial. Their society was rebuilt along more peaceful lines. But across the galaxy, in quiet moments when the stars seemed dimmer than before, every living being remembered the day they realized that humanity's smile hadn't been naive optimism, it had been mercy. And now, for the first time in galactic history, they truly understood what humanity had been protecting them from, themselves, unrestrained by